All right, just let me ask you a question. What happens when the approval stops? I know you're not looking for the spotlight. I know you're not chasing fame. You just want to be liked. You want to make yourself agreeable, soft-spoken, predictable. See me. You're always available. You're always thoughtful. You're always fine. But what happens when the approval stops? When you pour out and nobody claps? When you serve and nobody thanks? When you defer and defer and defer until you don't even recognize your own desires anymore? Welcome to Get Real and Get Revelation. I'm Laura G., the Destiny Whisperer, and today we are cracking open the collapse of the approval addicted believer. Missy, she never wanted a platform. She just didn't want to be rejected. Maybe that's you. So she became the peacekeeper, the ultimate peacekeeper, the mood manager, the spiritual contortionist. And for a while, it works. People liked her, people praises her, pastors praise her, friends lean on her. She's a go-to girl, the low maintenance, never too emotional, always humble. But let me tell you, behind that Sunday smile is slow death. Because when you build your worth on being liked, you'll always live one misunderstanding away from breakdown. And the day that Missy's approval stopped, Missy unraveled. Now, not publicly. No, she was too polite for that. But in privacy, in the heart of her hearts, in her thoughts, the spiral was fast and it was vicious. She's thinking to herself a mile a minute. Did I do something wrong? They didn't thank me. Was I too much? Was I not enough? Do they still like me? And that's the torment nobody talks about. Not applause addiction, it's approval addiction. This is the constant emotional scanning, the inner editor rewriting every conversation to sound holier, softer, more likable. The obsession with being spiritually small. I don't want to offend anyone. I've mentored many a Missy, and I've watched them bend so far that literally bend so far that to be accepted that they almost snap. One I worked with, I'll just call her Jess, once spoke a single sentence of truth, and the approval that she was addicted to. I mean, it just dried up overnight, and no one yelled, no one rebuked. It was just silence. And that silence literally sent her into an emotional cardiac arrest. Not because she was guilty, but because her nervous system hadn't been trained to equate disapproval with danger. That's the cost of approval addiction. It doesn't scream like rebellion. It starves slowly under a Christian smile. But God didn't call us to be manageable. He called us to be true. So here's today's takeaway. When approval is your oxygen, silence feels like suffocation, but embrace it. It's actually healing. How about our spiritual insight bonus today? Missy didn't fall apart because people stopped applauding. She fell apart because she didn't know who she was without somebody else's permission slip. And that's not humility. Let me tell you what that is. That's bondage. So let me ask you, who are you without their feedback? Without their thank you text, without that you're amazing reply? I know you'd show up. I know you'd still obey, but would you still be you? And that's the question. If you're unraveling, then in this next video, I'm going to show you what happens when Missy finally says no for the first time. There's a fallout and there's a freedom. And there's a fire that she didn't know was hers. Now, if this hit you in the gut, just drop the word free in the comments. Download the Inner Healing Guide, and let's begin detoxing your need to be liked. So like, share, and subscribe because someone you know is exhausted from holding it all together with a Sunday smile.